I would say the most important principle for working with English speakers working in the United States. Ownership is, if you can show ownership, you can have any job you want. How to take ownership with a little bit of grace, and how to sort of handle a mistake or a failure in a way that is as polite as possible and that gets you out of the way so that the work can be done. In America, something you should really remember is it's always better to say excuse me than I'm sorry. I'm sorry, or giving like an apology, it really represents a loss of face. It's unique in the United States that we really hold on to sorry, and we really hold on to saying it only when we must. So if you're working with English speakers, remember to say excuse me instead of sorry. So if you're late to work in the morning, excuse me or I'm sorry. For me, when I'm late to work in the morning, I would actually really focus on excuse me. You can still say sorry though, it's not like so bad. But when I'm late to work in the morning, if it's less than 10 minutes, or if it's less than 15 minutes, or if I don't really think it's a serious situation, I will always say excuse me. If it's like a meeting, like a special meeting, like I'm a teacher, for example, if I'm late to a student, I will always say I'm sorry. And similarly, if I'm late to a meeting, I will definitely say I'm sorry, unless it's like a very regular meeting with people who know me very well. How about this one? A project is late. Excuse me, or I'm sorry. If you can get away with excuse me, if you can stay out of trouble with excuse me, you should always say excuse me if you can get away with it. But a late project is usually a time when someone might be a little angry. It's usually a time when someone might come down on you a little, you know, might be like, this is so serious, this project is late. Max, we really needed that project today. A situation like that, it's really good to say, I'm sorry. Most important thing, reporting failure to leadership. The key idea whenever you're failing is always give before you take. You should always find something else, something a little warm to say if you can, before you jump into what you need. It always protects you a little, because nobody will want to criticize you or put you down a little or scold you if you give a little before you take. You make failures and mistakes less memorable. Make them something that people will not really recall or think back to. That means you want to be quick, be quiet, say as little as possible, say less than necessary. 1, show how much you care. And then under that, we talk about acknowledge their needs and importance. What you will find is that the leader or boss at your work, all day, people run up to them. Just watch sometimes. People run up to them and start talking. Hey, there's this project coming in. I need this. Oh, it's an important letter. Oh, sir, you're so great. We can't wait to have your beautiful words. People are always running up to leaders and saying things. When you show up, you ask how they are, and you find a way to show that you care. That doesn't mean talking about whatever you want to talk about. It means asking how they are. It means checking in a little. It can also mean giving something if you have it, which would be, for example, in a case where the work is not done yet, you can pretty much always turn in low quality or undefined work instead of turning in nothing. I learned this one in school. My professor would say, I'm going to say this with like clean English. He said it in a way that was more rude, but he said you can always turn in trash. It's always better to turn in trash than to turn in nothing. So, quick example, if I needed to turn in a project and it was not done, I might write an outline and then turn in the outline. Anything on earth is better than having nothing. Finally, here's how you can close. Ask for nothing else than what you exactly need and leave strong. My personal favorite phrase is, great, I'll take care of it. People love to hear these words as long as you do take care of it. Okay, so really quick story. You can see this painting here, right? I bet everyone here knows who Napoleon is, right? Most people know him as a really amazing historical figure who became an emperor. What most people don't know is, before his military campaign in France, he was in Egypt. And his campaign in Egypt was a horrible failure. All of his soldiers came down with disease. His whole campaign was unsuccessful. Everything about Napoleon's trip to Egypt with his soldiers did not go well. Nobody remembers that. The reason for that is because when he got back to France, he minted coins and treated it like he won. When he minted coins, he made like new coins, celebrating his return and saying how important and cool he is. In our work, this is the strategy that we use. If we can get out of saying sorry, we don't. If we can get out of saying excuse me, we don't. If we can find any excuse to show ourselves as being in control, as being the winner in some sense. That's kind of what we do.